There was no way of knowing when Titan was going to fail, but it was a mathematical certainty that it would fail.
I started to watch this documentary on that submersible that went down to the Titanic and imploded, and all of those poor people died, right? And my lovely wife's going, "You want to watch this?" You know, women, First 48, Murder, She Wrote, any sort of murder or death. For some reason, it's soothing for them, to watch it right before they go to bed, like that great SNL sketch that they did on it. It's so fucking true. It's like, I don't think I want to watch people get crushed to death from the pressure of the water.
It sounds like a door slamming.
Yeah. What's that like?
The noise is a sound of Titan imploding.
I'm terrified of the ocean. Like, I don't know if I want to. She goes, "Come on, let's just watch it." I go. And then she goes, "All right, well, you want to watch this one on the crackhead mayor of Toronto?" And I'm looking at his face and what he was accused of and how he was lying and all of that. I'm like, nah, I can watch the real-time version of that anytime I want at this point. I don't want to watch that. So we end up sitting down watching that, the Titanic one. And I have to tell you, like, this should be required viewing by anybody who is not a narcissist. I don't even know where to begin with this guy. Full-on narcissist, psychopath. There's this psychological makeup. It's called the dark triad. And any person who's not a fucking narcissist should know about it and should be looking for these traits in people, so you don't date it, you don't work for it, it's not in your life or anything. It's basically three sides of the triangle. It's narcissism, Machiavellianism, and psychopath. And just know that all of those are like, they don't have to be 10 out of 10. You can just be on the spectrum. And that fucking personality, you combine that with the greed of corporations, that personality is what ascends to the CEO level. And it rewards them, because every quarter, no matter how much a corporation makes money, it's not enough, and they need to make more. So at some point, what they have to do has to start becoming underhanded, and that's what weeds out decent people. Same thing in politics. Why can't we get somebody decent who's not an absolute psycho to run for fucking president? Because they get weeded out. Okay? Like, you look at war. Okay? You're looking at these fucking missiles just flying into these cities where now, because of cell phones, you can see it. Just regular people walking around on both sides. Okay? Here's the deal. All normal people who don't have that psychological makeup, they couldn't take a fucking crossbow and just ran in a field and randomly just point it and shoot it without fucking looking to make sure they wouldn't hit anybody. There's no fucking way. Like, if I was in a position of power, okay, there's no fucking way I would say, shoot these missiles into a fucking city. I couldn't live with myself. And the people on the other side with the same fucking regular person, I actually care about not killing somebody, they couldn't do it. But you get these fucking dark triad psychos in there, and they can fucking do it. And you watch this, I'm bringing it back to this submarine thing. The guy was a full-on fucking psycho. Total fucking narcissist, right there.
I worked for somebody that is probably borderline clinical psychopath, but definitely a narcissist. How do you manage a person like that who owns the company?
Right, that you cannot get into a submarine, an airplane, anything where your life is at risk and have a narcissist at the fucking controls. He's a god. Nothing's going to happen to him. And he's not even thinking about you or the risk, your life, or who loves you or whatever, right? Machiavellian shit. Anybody who blew the whistle on this guy, on his carbon fiber stupid fucking submarine. He would ruin their lives.
I feel bad for David. I really do. It shouldn't have happened. That day, Stockton told me it would be nothing for him to spend $50,000 to ruin somebody's life.
And yeah, he's a fucking psychopath in that, psychopath is anything from, you don't have to be an axe murderer. It can be literally like petty theft or whatever. And what this guy was doing was, and lying for no fucking reason. I guess he had reasons to lie. But they were showing this guy, testing this sub out. And he had this one guy who actually knew what the fuck he was doing, going like, first of all, you should not be testing this out with any people in it.
In terms of you going in the submersible, I am so against you doing it.
I understand.
We should be putting that sub on a wire with everything that's experimental.
I know that's your issue.
And he was just like, he would get like mad. He would get fucking mad. So this fucking lunatic got in the goddamn sub himself. They showed him, and you heard, as he's going deeper and deeper, you heard the carbon fires snapping. And he's going, oh, that's not a good sound. No, you don't like to hear that.
I'll get your attention. That will get your attention.
You'd see him every once in a while get a little bit nervous, like... He started calling it seasoning the hull. Like, you gotta break some eggs. You gotta break some carbon fiber to make a fucking sub, right?
He had said it was loud, but he had said that's what we expected. That's the carbon fiber seasoning. I've never heard of seasoning a hull.
With every one of those things that was snapping, obviously the whole structure was becoming weaker. He also had some sort of degree in physics, and the guy was saying, but he didn't fucking understand it.
Allegedly, he's a degreed aerospace engineer, but there are scientific principles that he wholly didn't understand.
He didn't understand what the fuck he was doing. I don't think that he didn't understand. He understood it enough to pass the test. But when you walk around and you think you're a god, you don't understand mortality. So I had to shut it off. It's like all of these people were telling this guy not to do it, and all it did was get him mad, and he would stop talking to them, and then he would fire them, and then literally tell them that if they blew the whistle on him, he was going to ruin their lives. So then they had to try and carefully get the word out that you should not get into this guy's fucking submarine.
I wasn't going to fight him. I wasn't going to go to the board because Stockton stated clearly how he likes to ruin a life.
I don't know. I highly recommend, especially if you came from a nice family, that you read up on these fucking people so you realize, what you're working with, what you're getting in bed with, and all of this shit. And these fucking people, they lie. They don't give a fuck. I mean, all the stuff that's going on right now, doesn't all of this stuff sound familiar? This all sounds familiar to me. And they got this, they got that, we got a blah, 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 we're stabilizing this, we're fucking gonna do that. And it's just like, what are you guys really doing? Because it's never what they're saying. It's never what they're saying. What is really happening? Well, we'll find out in 20 years or 50 years when everybody's dead, They'll declassify something, and then you'll find out what the fuck's really going on.
Would you declassify the Epstein files?
Yeah, I would.
All right.
I guess I would. I think that less so because, you don't know. You don't want to affect people's lives if it's phony stuff in there.
But I will tell you, watching that submarine thing, one of the questions I've had, just as a person, is how is war still legal in 2025? How is war still legal? And the reality is because the people that ascend to power have that psychological makeup on all sides. I'm not pointing a finger at any one side. The heads of these terrorist groups to the heads of these countries, they are all fucking psychopaths. There's some sort of, or I can't say that they're all the same psychological makeup, but there is some sort of flaw or desire for power or something in their personality that they can do the things that I don't know, that war does to people, and just go to bed at night and just go to sleep and get fucking 8 hours and not have a problem, you know? The whole reason why I saw this thing, they set up NATO after World War II was you had a bunch of people alive that lived through World War I and World War II, and they were like, we have to stop doing this, and we need to do everything we can to prevent future generations from experiencing the horrors of war. That's where we were at. And then we sort of broke it up, I think, 20-something years ago, when we had the Coalition of the Willing, when no one would go with us, and we went around it. And I don't think going around a group like that, in the long run, I mean, obviously that's not, why would you go around something in the long run that wants to prevent the horrors of war?
I got a coalition of the willing. I got 40 nations ready to roll, son.
Like who?
Who said that? Huh?
Anyway, so I highly recommend watching it. It's, I mean, the footage of this guy going under the water and you're hearing the carbon fiber wires snapping. Oh, dude, and one thing that they did, you know, to seal something on the sub, they took the same shit that, you know, for a spray-on truck bed liner.
They took it out into the car park at Everett and sprayed it with truck bed liner.
He went around any sort of third-party inspections of it.
We were at lunch one day at OceanGate, and Stockton said that he decided that he saw no need for classification, for third-party oversight.
He's like, yeah, we don't need to fucking do that. We don't need to fucking do that. We're not fucking doing that. And it's just like, I guess once you get out in international waters, they have no authority, so you just fucking do whatever you wanted to do.
Wow, you can do anything out here.
That's right. See that ship over there? They're rebroadcasting Major League Baseball with implied oral consent, not express written consent.
That guy and his estate, you know, whatever's left of it, from all of those victims should be sued again, and then taken into civil court, sued again. I mean, the guy just, from his own out-of-control narcissism and whatever, just a completely avoidable tragedy, and he killed all of those fucking people. It's unbelievable. Anyway. So, yeah, look that shit up, the Dark Triad.
To me, that's where we're going to have cities before we have them up in space.
On the moon?
Yeah.
That is so cool. And there are so many incredible minerals.
He wanted to be a Jeff Bezos or Elon Musk.
If you were told to never hold back, you could choose anything and do that. What would you do? Why would you wait? What's holding you back today? If you were told to never hold back, you could choose anything